Okay, so um, I wrote a story, and I don't know if you will like it, but I would like to read it to you. I'm going to try to sign as much as possible because I have a lot of deaf family and friends. But my signing can be bad. Forgive what I'm wearing. I just got done bathing. My family is asleep upstairs, and I didn't want to go up and potentially wake somebody up. Um, so I decided to just put on my outdoor vest and try to tell this story story that I wrote. Oh, a little bit of background on this. I have always loved to tell stories, and I often make up nighttime stories for, I might be signing something wrong there, but I think it's story, um, for my children. And I had an idea as I was driving my team of ponies the other day, and I wrote it down into a short chapter, 6-chapter book. I have finished 5 chapters, and for this video I'm going to read the first chapter. The story is called The Day the Moon Cried. Chapter 1. John Faces His Fears. Ever since young John was 2 years old, he knew that he had a big fear. He only had one fear, but it was a crippling, paralyzing fear. Young John was scared of the dark. Not really the dark itself, but the things John knew were hiding in the dark, just waiting to pounce. How young John oh, through the day, John was a cheerful, happy, playful boy. But when the shadows began to grow long and Mama turned the light on in the kitchen, John became quiet and watchful. He watched all the dark places, like the dark hole under the stairs, the shadowy closet, and worst of all, the black hallway at the top of the stairs. That was surely the scariest of all. Now, John was 10 years old, and he had never actually seen any monsters in the dark, and no boogeyman had actually jumped out at him, and no wolves, tigers, and bears had ever snuck up on him outside in the dark, but John just knew they were all there, crouched and waiting to devour him. John was convinced that the only reason no monster had eaten him yet was because he was so careful and watchful. And he never went into the dark alone. Ooh, how John loved flashlight and the full moon. One night when John was in bed, he lay there staring out the window at a great big full moon, and he thrilled at how bright everything was outside and in his room. From the light of the huge moon, it seemed closer than normal. As John stared hard at the moon, he wished with all his might. Oh, how I wish the moon would be this bright each and every single night. As John lay there witching, the moon seemed to change. And John saw a face on the moon, and that face smiled and winked at John. John could not believe what he saw. He sat bolt upright with his eyes open wide in astonishment. And then the face was gone. Suddenly, John had an idea. What if I could get the moon to stay here every night with all its brightness? Then I would never have to face my fear of the dark ever again. He thought to himself. All night, John lay awake, planning just how he would capture the moon for himself. End of chapter 1. Stay tuned for more videos. If you like this, I'm going to do a video on each chapter until my story is done. Thank you all for tuning in. Bye. Good night. It's kind of dark out there.